that's how you can be planning. See, this is your initial photograph that you've taken. You may have used some calipers at that time as well. Or a probe is good enough as long as the ridge is not having dehiscence in it, or you've not lost aggressive bone there. It will be fine. But if you have lost too much bone, then use the calipers. Okay, there are a few different versions that you can use. Digital calipers are readily available. Use them. Specialized calipers can be used if you want, but you would have possibly have to numb the patient. It's quite helpful. But yeah, 2 mm, 1.5 to 2 mm is what you're looking at. And that again is the initial assessment stage before the CBCT. Okay? Soft tissue will make a big difference, whether it's thin phenotype.
Which one is the best one?
The best one?
The fat one, the thin one?
Which one do you think?
The fat one, for me.
Yeah? Okay.
Aesthetically, you can, you can manage it.
What do you think? We talked about it yesterday, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
so how would you define that, Rob? How would you?
For me, depends on the site. It's okay as long as you have enough surface area.
That will define where you're going to be placing the incisions as well, right?
According to the area, of course.
Yes.
From the aesthetical area, okay. We have to have margins a lot.
We talked about keratinized mucosa and non-keratinized. Yes. Okay. So which one is fair?
Depends.
Keratinized, it's better.
Mostly, yes. Mostly it would be. And the incisions, what would be the placement? Would it be on the alveolar ridge, on the crest, or would it be lingually or palatal or
I would say it should be slight towards the middle.
Okay.
To cover the implant, you don't want the implant surface to be.
Everybody agree with that? Yes. So some things that we just kind of revise now. You should have some bone width. Okay. You have to keep in mind that you've got 2 mm of bone available for an implant to go in between. Okay. Your soft
2
tissue.
mm on either side. If it's just a thickness of 2 mm, then when you place an implant,
How big an implant will you place there? If the total thickness is 2 mm.
you can't isn't it? So
What do you think?
You at least need at least 8 mm to put 4 mm implant and 2 and 2 on either side.
Yeah.
If you're placing 2 implants right next to each other, it should be 4 millimeters apart, not 2 millimeters.
Yeah. Okay. 3 to 4.
3 millimeters. 4 it's
4 is a bit.
so at least
There's a problem with 4 when it comes to papilla, the right triangles and everything. But case specific. Again, as clinicians, you will find things will change, right? So you would have to choose your case wisely and you will have to plan it wisely. But basics, okay? You're getting it, courses.
Yes.
buckling will
So what are the basics, the 3 things that I just said? What are the 3 things that we're going to be doing? When it comes to just photographs and taking the measurements, I'm using a probe. What are we going to be doing?
You need the space, how many millimeters? 2 and 2.
Yeah. So 2 and 2 on each side.
Side,
Okay. So you're measuring the total ridge. The
Yeah.
ridge is 6 mm. What are you going to do now?
6 and
6 buckling.
That's the total
Measurement.
measurement I can, yeah.
6 minus 4.
Well, 4, yeah. You got 2 left, so.
So what are you going to do now?
Got more space, isn't it?
Okay, so because the implant diameter has to be 2 or less then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you are a little fixed there, isn't it? Yes.
Smaller.
How much is 2 mm? Or we do talk about these millimeters, but probe, why I was talking about probes. This is WHO, isn't it? This one. This one, right? It's not again the best image, but what is special about WHO probe? Or different, not special, but different.
So the bottom.
How thick, or what's the diameter of that?
More than half a millimeter.
Yeah? No, it's very difficult to perceive otherwise, and this is an ideal tool for you to start perceiving how many millimeters you've got. So start using it. Okay. You do use for BP, start using it to start measuring the ridges. These kind of photographs, these immediate ones, doesn't take more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the patient out consultation. Usually the immediate consultation, I would take photographs with the immediate consultation for, at least I should have some idea whether this patient is suitable or not. It takes not more than 10 minutes.
So to take photographs, do we have to have a separate camera, or can you take it on your mobile?
The mobile is a different issue for the indemnities, and you need to know which mobile it is, whether it's work, it's not, right? The legalities, the GDPR, you can take it on mobile, yes, but there are a few things to be remembered. I'm sure you all know that, if not, we can, you know that? It has to be work mobile, it has to be defined for that. It cannot be shared for personal use.
Should be connected to iCloud.
Yeah?
Yeah, it should be connected to your iCloud as well. To
Yeah.
store pictures from your
If it is being sharing onto the clouds, then you have to prove that it is an encrypted cloud, and there are some encrypted cloud versions available now for dental use. So you can look onto those things, but I don't want to get involved. The GDPR is annoying, isn't it? So get yourself updated with it. Take it very, very, very seriously. You get stuck with that, they're not going to let you go easily.
Yes, so, how
And-
do you do in generally?
I usually keep my SLR with me.
You have those, huh?
SLR. The camera, the Nikon or Canon.
with the ring flash.
Do you have that?
Yeah, usually wouldn't use ring flash for this, but yeah. So you can do that, because I usually come into the surgery with 3 bags on my shoulder. That's my routine. So it's annoying, but it's something you get used to. Or if you want to use phone, many times we do, right? Be very much afraid. Okay, there are legalities, and I would say because of these smartphones, almost every next dentist is using them, and I wouldn't say I'm not guilty of it. Okay.
Yeah, but if you have consent from the patient saying that you can use it, you can, if it's signed consent, you still know.
I'll leave it to you, really. Yeah. If you've got a really good consent form, send it to me as well. We've got consent forms for the photographs, right? When it comes to the GDPR, the regulations are, it's recently changed. They're making it very awkward. I've just done, because the manager couldn't complete it, she was struggling with it, so I had to do it with her. It took me 4 or 5 months.
So you would recommend just keep a separate camera, not a mobile phone?
Preferably, yes, or separate mobile phone. Separate mobile phone if you can.
But then again,
Or take it very seriously as I
the
said.
camera should be, the memory should be like, you can't just keep pictures in there. Because if the camera gets stolen, it happened with me.
Really?
Yeah,
They
okay.
broke into my car, just smashed the window, took the SLR.
Yeah.
So
He had a few Burberry jackets, camera, everything like that on display, so nobody would resist.
That's the problem with branded people, isn't it?
yeah, so quite a few things like implant motor.
Oh God.
Implant motor, SLR
They took
camera,
an implant
jacket,
motor.
and my loops, orosoptic loops. So it was good.
Was it a dentist?
I don't know. It was good 10,000-12,000 pounds worth of things that it took.
From the dentist are
From
taking
my-
some-
Give us the serial number, we're going to keep an eye on our courses.
Oh, yes.
That person is coming to us one day.
So
Okay.
they replace everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, this thing can get stolen.
Yeah.
So the pictures, patients' faces are on them. So
The-
that since then I've taken the pictures alone.
The guidelines are that you should have protocols for that, written protocols, right? So you should have written protocols. Burglary and theft can happen in the clinic, right? You should have written protocols. If there's a data breach, how are you going to handle that? Now those are extensive, okay?
Just take
It's
pictures.
probably going to require another 1-year course, I think.
Yeah.
I think we need to attend that. But yes, it is quite extensive. All in all, take it very seriously, take it with a pinch of salt, be cautious, be careful. Even the patient may object to you taking photographs with the mobile camera, right? So if it is not DSLR, let's say, right? So be a little wary of that.
Let me tell you a story. I was taking pictures of a patient and added up implant on upper right foot. The results were very, very, very good. And I saw that patient after 4 years. So after 4 years I took the picture and he said He said to me, you know, Cash, you've been taking pictures for me for the last 4 years. What are you doing with these pictures? I said, I'm using it for your records, that I can write 1,000 words, blah, 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 and the picture is the best record and all of that. And they use for teaching and training as well.
Oh, God.
The moment I said that, he said, oh, so you're boosting yourself showing my pictures. I said, not exactly, and you consented for that. He said, no, I never consented for that. I said, no, you signed for that in my consent form. He said, oh, it must be in the small print. I said, no, it's in the bold print and just above your signatures. That practice is paperless. So when I went back into the notes and I started retrieving the consent form, then he realized that, yes, he has got something. So he said, you know what, I'm not happy with this. I said, okay, if you withdraw the consent, I can delete the pictures now and that's it. He just walked out. He walked out and went to the reception and started doing, reception was full of people. He said, well, you know what, he's boosting himself with showing my pictures and all of that, and went away. The receptionist came to me and said, Cash, you know what, something is not right. I said, no, but yeah, I know why something is not right, and that was a Friday afternoon. I called my indemnity. I said, I've got the consent form. It's in the bold letters that my pictures can be used for teaching and training, and in all my pictures, you will see all my pictures, the face of the patient is never recognized. It's only the mouth, the teeth. And I said, there is no recognition, and I've deleted the pictures I've taken today, so I've indemnity. The indemnity advisor was a speaker who actually used to speak in one of the forums I used to speak in. He knows me very well. He said, you know, Cash, what you need to do is you need to pick up the phone and apologize. I said, for what? I've got the consent. Why should I apologize? Did the patient can sign up a mortgage and after 4 years he said, you know what? I don't like paying. So, bank, you go off. I said, can the patient do that? He signed it. He said, you know, Cash, I know what you mean. I know where you're coming from, but you have called for advice, and that's my advice to you. So, but you do whatever you want to. And I put the phone down. I said, I'm not going to apologize. What should I apologize for? I've got the consent. What should I do? What else I should do? That was Friday afternoon. And Monday morning, you guess what I did?
You call the patient.
Yeah. Call the patient and apologize.
Why?
Because in this country, patient is always right.
It's easier to apologize and get the stress
Yeah,
because there are
yeah,
hundred
yeah,
more things that
yeah.
are in your mind which can be messed up because this is a small ego issue.
Yeah, but you know, you think that you pay indemnity and indemnity people on your side? They are on the side which is costing them less. The cheapest option to this resolution was Cash picking up the phone and speaking to the patient. That's the cheapest option, and that's what his advice was.
I think so is quite cheap. So
That's what I'm saying. Even written consent is not enough in this country.
Yeah, indemnity is completely, as Cash, that was completely the reality behind it, yes. They're not going to be standing there behind you that you've done the right thing. They want to find the cheapest way out of it.
So the cheapest way is not for them to pay patient.
all right.
It's expensive for you to go to jail.
Yeah.
Then you go to jail and so they
So
don't pay.
the defense is that they're going to be trying to do their best in a way that it does not go to court, it does not go into the legal system, and they don't have to do a settlement. With the photograph's consent, the patient can withdraw that consent anytime. Okay? And if you're taking full face images, you must have that written in bold separately onto the form.
Sorry. For example, for these pictures, okay, you have still to take the permission of the patient?
Yeah.
Okay.
Must take permission. Now there is a verbal permission, okay, and there is a written permission. The recommendation is written. Okay? So what happens is we have consent forms for photographs. We give the patient. And since this episode that Kashif mentioned, we've got now consent forms does say that it will be possibly potentially used in their separate box so they can take onto it for presentation and lecture purposes, full face or not full face. Some patients would take it and some wouldn't. still we are cautious that those patients who take full face may change their mind or may think that they were not fully aware of it. Because when they're going through the treatment, they are more interested in the treatment. Once it's done, that somehow that aura is gone and they're not relaxing into it, everything is bedding in and they're like, I give consent for a full photograph. So if you're going to place, you've taken the consent for a full face photograph, and you're going to be presenting that in a lecture like this, maybe that's fine, maybe, right? But if it's going to be going on a website, call them again, talk to them, ask them to come again, get another permission. Be very clear, have your nurse with you, write down any notes, take a permission again, confirm this and this, and they're placing on a website. Okay? So what cannot happen is that you give them a form with 4 other forms, or maybe the implant consent form with 10 pages, which I do, and there's a consent form out for the photographs with it, and I do get that, and I don't usually, I just tell them to read it. Now depending on the patient, they may have just signed it at the bottom, but they may have read through it. If they read through it, they will come back with questions, you will know. If they haven't, you better go through all these bits, hence I always do that. Okay. Once, when it comes to the photography and presentation, usually I would use that after the case has been completed and everything. So I will then sit with them and talk about the consent for the photographs. Again, they have signed it before, but I'm just going to revise that with them, because they may have changed their mind over the time. So yes, take it very seriously. Coming down to measurements, so we were saying that we're going to be taking measurements with photographs. Yes? Okay. So you are preparing now, the case is getting ready. You've got a few issues. What issues you're going to be catching, or what are you trying to achieve from these photographs?
Measuring if there's enough space and there's no drifting of teeth.
You may have missed some things when you are doing a dental checkup, because you're just concentrating on a lot of other things, isn't it? Now, when you're looking at the photographs, you may start thinking, well, there's some wear on the central incisors. What about the guidance? How's the anterior guidance? You should have had a full set of photographs, and a full set would include?
Full set of photographs.
For implant, we talk about a single or two-unit implant, but full set still for that. What do you need? Photographs are easy as long as it's compliant, right? So, in contrast to X-rays and radiation. So, how many photographs you would need so that you can make a good assessment and planning of
We
treatment?
need 6.
Okay,
One
so-
in bite, then from the front, then one from the right, one from the left,
Okay.
one upper occlusal, one lower occlusal. I think one profile, like front and then profile, so it's then.
Ideal, okay.
That's right.
And what about guidance? How are you going to know that?
Our Facebook.
Um,
Okay, new picture for guidance.
Okay, we'll probably talk about that. And then it's very simple to check in. When you're going through that 10-minute consultation, you can at least check that bit as well. Now that's where the phones come in. It's a little, while we are on the topic. You know these, some of the phones have a picture nowadays called live view. Yes?
Yeah.
Have you tried using it?
Oh, yeah, that can be used.
I'm sure Tassa knows about it, isn't it?
Live view.
Yeah, Tassa can teach you
What's
that.
application?
Oh yeah, he knows that. so that is really helpful. No, it's a phone. As I said, I'm guilty of it as well. But for canine guidance, it's a brilliant thing. You just take a picture and it will show you the whole light of the teeth. Right? And you don't end up making a big video and then cutting it and snipping it. It's there. Just press it. The teeth are moving. But we'll talk about. So you need to have some guidance, and you will get an idea by looking at your photographs. Now, if you're looking at the photograph, the teeth have exceptionally worn down. Straight away, you should start thinking, is this patient suitable to go for implants immediately or not? If the patient is willing to pay £20,000, money is not an object, and time is not an issue. Both the things. Right? Time is going to be an issue. Many patients who say money is not an object, time is a problem, and they've got excessive wear. Occlusion is everywhere. Right? You have to rethink, what am I going to be talking to this patient on the next appointment? This is the time to think. You've got 4 pictures in front of you, maybe an X-ray or 2. All you need. You can type a very nice consent form. Use the template, but you can alter it very nicely, very easy. So you would not need, and that's going to be your records. These are the photographs that will go into the patient's records, that will save them. So once they're transferred onto the right patient, then you're legally safe. Right? So transfer them to the patient's records rather than keep them there. In the surgical protocol, we will talk about, again, we've got other lecturers, they will be talking about how, the steps that you're going to be going for. But remember the drill speed, it's becoming a little, there's a lot of changes that are happening. Okay, so your implant systems may still say that you can go for 800 or 900 RPM, and you can go for it. Do you need to go for it is something to rethink. So start probably reading and studying. You were talking about collecting bone in the fluids, isn't it? Yeah. So those things do matter. Okay, so slow speeds are becoming more popular, and they tend to make sense. How you're going to handle them is again on your surgical skills. Or you can just follow the manual, which means that yes, start from 1000 now, 500 or 400 and 300. You can do all that if you like. Okay, but be aware that yes, nowadays the trend is towards really almost 50 or less, or just about that. Okay. So, and it works. So something to be aware of. Direction indicators, never ever forget them. Angulation must be constantly kept in mind, because that's where your eventual restoration will lie. Okay. So keep on checking, keep on checking. Rest is, of course, the template we leave it for now. Main risks of implant complications: if it is wrongly placed, of course that's one issue, we know that, okay. But if it is in the bone and wrongly placed, what issues will you face? First in terms of restoration, and then in the follow-ups.
Restoration, you would have to, nowadays you can rely on
Angle apartments, multi-unit apartments.
the shape of the restoration would be affected in some cases, shape of the restoration, cleansability of the crowns,
Okay.
because in the right line, it can just be like a normal tooth if it's too far back or forward. So yeah, those things.
So eventually, if the function is affected and cleansability is an issue, what will happen?
Patient not like it.
No, you can't think it.
Maybe aesthetically it is okay, but so how will implant fail? What will happen first? What will start? Yeah.
Potential.
Food retentive factors, and that's how it starts. Okay. Now in an aesthetic zone, you would have often crowns at an angle. And another issue that you have is, I think let's go on to, okay, I think that's jumping too far forward. Cement retain versus screw retain. So the other issue with cement retain, now in an aesthetic zone, you would be doing a cement retain or screw retain ground.
Screw.
Okay. If you can, if you can, if you can. Problem being that, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think we've jumped a few slides. Let's go back and we'll talk about it. So, this is Implantsis. Okay, that's the system that we been talking about, and yesterday you had a look at some of the parts, and I did see some blank faces, right? So, let's try to make it simple. Let's try to make it a bit easy to understand. What's the first image on the left?
Implant in the jaw, active implant.
Yeah. Now we're talking about this system, so we're going to talk how to open it. How will you open soon? Use a foil all over it? Peel it off. Yeah, and what do you see inside then once you peel it off?
Implant.
Fine. But what are you going to do with that? Now, how are you going to get that implant out?
With the implant driver,
Carry.
Yeah, there was a.
implant carrier.
So you fix it and then.
So you can just slot it in. Okay, so where's going to the implant driver go? Just straight on top.
Yeah.
Okay. So implant is somewhat hidden inside this cap. What's under